Hello, welcome to today's live session. My name is Andreas Kurtz. I'm Technical Account Manager for Germany, Austria, Switzerland and Czech Republic, and I'm working with Seminis since 8 years. Seminis has a very long history in onion breeding, especially in the Rheinsberger segment. Everybody knows the Itos like Barito, Roquito or 3557 Ito. Next to the Rheinsberger varieties, we offer some intermediate types as well as some Spanish or white onions. But today I will present you a brand new variety. In 2021 we have introduced Saddleback, also known as SVNY 2771. Saddleback is an American long day that matures in only 135 to 145 days. This means that Saddleback is up to 2 weeks earlier than Varieties. It can be ready for harvest by end of July. This offers several advantages. Stretch of workload during the harvest season, optimized use of storage and curing facilities. In fact, growers can handle more onions per season than usual. Plus, you can be one of the first suppliers for your trade partners. But there's even more arguments. The onion price is highest at the beginning of the season. With the harvest of set and winter onions in June, the price starts decreasing and settles at around 13 euros by the end of August. But the sale of first early summer zone onions starts by the end of July, and for some time growers can realize 2 to 4 times higher prices than only a few weeks later in the season. So we see that maturity is an important factor for price. But wouldn't it be nice if your variety comes with some extra yield potential as well, yielding better than its competitors? Which varieties are competing in this first early segment? And can Saddleback offer some extra yield potential? Hessen, Pfalz and Bavaria are the most important production areas for first early onion varieties in Germany. Dienstleistungszentrum ländlicher Raum Rheinpfalz recommends to grow varieties like Tagstar, Tagmark or Luster for the area Hessen and Pfalz. The official advisor service in Bavaria recommends a similar set of varieties. So that's the varieties Saddleback will have to challenge in terms of yield potential. The following slides will show how Saddleback has performed. Since 2016, Saddleback was tested against one or more reference varieties in the most important growing regions for early material for the German team. Means Pfalz-Hessen, Bavaria, Switzerland and of course the official trial station in Dresden-Pillnitz. We have analyzed the yield potential of Saddleback compared to its competitors, always in the same field. And whenever you see a value higher than 100%, we harvested more kilos for Saddleback. If the value is below 100%, the Saddleback sample got less kilos than its reference variety. Or let's make it easy, whenever you hear the cash sound with the new label, we collected more kilos for Saddleback in that trial. But how can Saddleback actually give better stand and bigger bulb size? Let's see in the next slide. Okay, which factors influence the yield potential of onions? Even stand is the base for high yield potential and ideal results need fast and uniform germination. This works best with a good vigor of the seed. And nutrient or water uptake is correlated to the power of the root system, so we need a plant with a strong root system too. A strong root system again is the base for strong tops. Tops are the factory of the plant and bulb size has a strong correlation with the size of the tops. But only a sound plant is productive and many fungal diseases of the root can't be controlled by chemicals. So this means we need some level of fungal disease resistance too, for instance against pink root. Since Saddleback has proven its high yield potential, there must be a link with some of these features. Even stand begins with uniform germination. Seminis offers precision seed in fractions between 2 and 2.75 mm. The average 1000 seed weight of onion is somewhere around 4 grams. Saddleback 1000 seed weight is around 5 grams. Still within the same fraction, but at the bigger end. Bigger, heavier seed can store more power. This supports the germination process and finally results in better stand. Let's see some examples. Uniform germination in Bavaria 2020. In Switzerland 2017. In Pfalz area 2019. And in Hessen area 2019. So Saddleback shows that uniform germination is important for even stand of the crop, but a high yield potential needs more than uniform germination. What about the other features? As you can see, Saddleback is equipped with a very strong root system that allows continuous water and nutrient uptake, providing enough power to build strong tops in a short time. And Saddleback has proven to build stronger tops than competition under various conditions over the past 5 years, no matter very hot conditions in summer or in difficult and cold periods like in spring 2020. This is showing Saddleback next to a competitor in Hessen in 2020. Do you see there's more roots, bigger bulbs and more leaf material in the top row with the Saddleback plants? If that's not clear enough for you, we can have a look at the next example. Here comes a very good example, also dating from 2020 season. This field in Dirmstein-Pfalz was on 12th of March and was facing very difficult conditions for germination. Poor soil preparation, cold and dry conditions after sowing, with dry winds from the east that let the surface dry out very quickly after irrigation. Looking at the picture, it is clear the Saddleback in the bottom is better developed, but how to capture this impression in numbers? During my observation on 7th of July, I counted germination, measured the size of the tops, organized the plants in 3 different categories according to their size, and I measured the size of the bulbs, and that's what I found. Only slightly more plants germinated for Saddleback, but big differences in size classes. Saddleback has way more plants in the XL cluster, and the XL plants of Saddleback measure 55 centimeters, while the reference only measures 45 centimeters. Finally, the bulb diameter was clearly bigger too. How come that Saddleback counts way more XL plants? I would think this is a combination of even germination and strong root development, resulting in 10 cm taller leaves that can generate more power to produce 20% bigger bulbs at the same time. So this is a good example to show that Saddleback has got some advantages in the features linked to yield potential. However, the best features can fail in difficult situations, for instance when the plant is attacked by a disease. This is a picture from a trial in Zeeland, Switzerland, taken on 12 August 2020. The field was irrigated, but Trips attack and hot temperatures made the varieties suffer. But look at the tops of the variety between the blue lines. It is suffering much more than the other varieties. Tops like this are often associated with the problem of the root. Let's zoom in. Oh, those leaves, they look like fried. Let's have a closer look at the roots, because if you see tops like this, you can expect roots like that. Okay, a bit closer please. Next slide please. Okay, this looks like pink root infection. Let's consult the Seminis disease guide. Pinkroot is a soil-borne fungus that likes hot temperatures and advances with climate change. Except for 4 to 6 year crop rotation, there is not so much you can do, unless you find a variety with some level of disease resistance. The picture shows a susceptible variety to the right, and the variety with some level of resistance to pink rot to the left. The roots of the susceptible variety are strongly damaged by pinkroot. Saddleback roots to the left look much better. That's for a reason, because Saddleback has got an intermediate resistance against pinkroot. So Saddleback has got one more feature that supports productivity and finally high yield potential. It's the intermediate resistance against the pinkroot. But Saddleback is not the only variety that offers some level of pinkroot resistance. Looking at our product range, you will even find varieties with high resistance against pinkroot. And this is what high resistance looks like in the field. This picture was taken in a field with high pinkroot pressure in 2020. The roots of varieties with high resistance against pinkroot will still show a rose or slight pink discoloration, but the roots will not decay, they keep working, and the plant keeps growing. Today, Seminis is offering 4 varieties with pinkroot resistance: Saddleback, Pocono, which is an American long day variety, which is about 10 days later than Saddleback, SV6646NV, which is a Spanish long day for the peeling industry, and the red onion 4593, which also offers an intermediate resistance against Fusarium. Of course, we know that Fusarium resistance is top of the list for most onion growers. And actually, we are trialing some varieties that are showing interesting differences compared to conventional Rheinsberger types, like SVNV 1138. Let's have a look. SVNV 1138 is a late Spanish long day onion. With a development time of about 155 days, it has similar timing like our mid-early Rheinsberger 3557. Bulbs are dark bronze, the root system is very strong and the tops are tall. The variety has an outstanding yield potential and stores until January. And 1138 has a very interesting Fusarium profile. What does it mean? We will have a quick look. In 2020 season we have tested 1138 in Siebenkofen in Bavaria. Siebenkofen is a real Fusarium hotspot. Our reference variety was a Rheinsberger type from our main competitor. The sample size of 6 meter bed but was assessed in 3 reps. This makes a sampling surface of 3 times 12 square meter or 3 times 500 plants per variety. For each variety and rep, the number of Fusarium infected plants and bulbs was counted, and we found significant differences between the 2 varieties. While we found 7% infected plants in the first rep of the Rheinsberger, we found 0% in SV 1138. Same picture in repetition 2. In repetition 3, the Rheinsberger showed 3% Fusarium infected plants, but again no infected plants in 1138. So I started to check a bigger set of plants, this time 3000, still 0% of infected plants to be found in the 1138. 1138 will be launched in 2021 and we are having high hopes that this variety will show similar responses to Fusarium attack in other fields. I have come to the end of my presentation. Many thanks for your attention. And at the end of the next session, you will have the opportunity to ask some questions. Thanks and enjoy the next presentation. Bye.
Welcome to this broadcast. My name is Wout Nelissen. I've been a sales rep for Seminis since 2.5 years now. Today I will discuss our onion varieties and the experience I've had in these 2.5 years. Besides that, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them and we will discuss them after my presentation. As discussed, we will talk about 6 of our varieties today. These are the 6 ones that I have been working with in the Netherlands mainly. We are starting with Barito. Barito is our earliest spring sown onion variety. Hang on. It gives a very good yield, and especially in sandy soils in the south of the Netherlands, it gives an early high yield. You can think of harvest in August, and it's suitable for sales directly after harvest, straight into the pack house and to the end user. And if possible, you can store it for a short while, but not too long. Second earliest is Shakito. Shakito is only a few days later than Barito in the early sandy areas, but it has the advantage of a good skin and a good firmness, which means if you, as a grower who is selling straight from the field, you have an issue in the market, or the market does not want onions on the moment you are harvesting, you can easily store them if necessary until March. But yeah, in the meanwhile you can look, of course, for a good time to sell your onions and make a good price. It has a high percentage of single centers, and as mentioned, it's storable until March. Third in line is the SV3557ND, a bit later again than the Barito and Shakito. But one of its unique features is the fact that it develops a lot of leaves in an early stage, which means, for example, weed control is easier, but also before it gets really dry and hot, this variety has already produced quite a big leaf mass, which means it's also able to give good yields on drought-sensitive areas. I've seen it in the Netherlands on sandy soils, but also on heavier soils and really on clay soils as well. It is storable until March, and even in some cases on the really storage soils until May. And that's the 3557. Next in line is Paquito, again a little bit later than 3557. It's a variety that can give really high yields on light soils with a good availability of water. Then it can outperform almost every other variety in yield. And on top of that, besides good yield, it also has a good storability features such as skin retention and firmness. It's storable until May as well. It's a really nice variety, and I'm quite enthusiastic about it. Next one is Roquito. And Roquito is one of our bigger varieties in the Netherlands. It's a mid-early variety, but as a unique feature, it's for long storage. So we store it until May or June. It has a good root system, which means it's also tolerant against some fungal soil diseases. It has a good, erect, strong foliage, and what it's really good about Roquito, the name says it, it's really rock hard. It is incredibly hard, and it combines this firmness with a good yield, both from the field, so gross yield, as well as net yield back out. And of course a good skin retention. We see this variety in mainly in the real storage areas where they do a lot of, where they grow onions for storage, for long storage. But it also performs well on light soils. Last in line is Bossito. It's a mid-late variety. Bossito, again, also suitable for long storage. So good skin retention, good firmness. And on top of that, because it is mid-late, it also has some tolerance against drought. So what we've seen is where other varieties go down when you have like a heat wave in August. This one stays upright and keeps growing for some time, which gives good yields on non-irrigated soils. Again, it has a high percentage of single centers with a good sprouting tolerance and is one of our newer varieties. Then, long story short, I've got a small summary for you where you can see each and every variety combined with its yields, earliness, storability, skin retention, firmness, sprouting tolerance and shape. And this is basically the story I just told you, only in numbers. This was my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them.
Wout, first of all, thank you very much for the nice introduction of Onion portfolio. So we have two questions from our audience. The first one is, for sandy soil type, which variety is for second early?
For second early, you can use either Shaquito, when you really want on the early side of the market, or you can use the 3557, when you want to be a little bit later and have a bit of a bigger yield potential.
And the second question is, which variety is quite early but suitable for long storage?
That must be Roquito, as mentioned in my presentation. It's a mid-early variety with the ability to store until April, May, so for long storage. This gives growers the possibility to harvest early, so to really bring in a nice product, and then before conditions get really wet, you are done in the field. So you get a nice product at the beginning of storage, which makes it also easier to store it until the end with good quality and good results.